Welcome to Money Talk with Tiff, a podcast where we discuss everything money from tips and tricks to current events. Follow me on my journey to become debt-free and meet other cool people along the way. I am your host, Tiffany Grant. Now let's talk money. Hey everyone! So today's another guest episode. I have Dimitry Neyshtadt on the line, and Dimitry is an award-winning financial advisor and motivational speaker destined to revolutionize the way personal finances can be optimized in the lives of millions. Dimitry has helped over 1,000 individuals and families of all races, occupations, and income levels in his 10-plus year career as a chartered financial consultant. Hey, Dimitry, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to speak with you because we are going to talk about the role culture plays in your money story. So Dimitry was actually born in Belarus, Russia, and immigrated over here with
That's
his
right.
family. So if you can just talk a little bit about how, the Russian culture is different than the American culture when it comes to your money.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny, right? I think that the Soviet Union in general, as that era kind of came to a fall in 1990, that was when my parents in 1989, 1990 were leaving the Soviet Union. They were in their mid 30s at the time, with two kids, myself being the younger, my older brother 7 years older than me. And yeah, I mean, it's moving here and immigrating, I think for any culture, is a challenge, right? I mean, to pick up where you are and leave, and leave to another country, right? Sometimes halfway around the world, for the chance of a better life, not only for yourself but for your kids and future generations. I'm sure there are plenty of folks listening who either they were born in a different country, right, or their parents, perhaps, right, maybe they're first generation Americans, and yeah, it was definitely as immigrants starting out more or less from scratch. I mean, it was tough, right? I think a lot of listeners can probably relate to it. There was a lot of years of paycheck to paycheck living, and I think that for many new Americans in general, that's something that is an experience that when someone goes through that, they oftentimes have to learn how to make money decisions better, right? Almost out of necessity sometimes, right? Where every dollar matters that much to make sure that all the bills are getting paid, to make sure that there's food on the table and such. So, look, I'll be foolish to say that as Russians, that yeah, hey, do we like to drink some vodka and hang out and party and all that stuff? Yeah, sure, that stereotype probably is true. I'll be the first one to admit that. But I think we are at the same time very much balanced around family and the importance of that and making sure that there's a strong household. I think that's a very common thread in our culture for sure.
Right, right. And before we got on, I was telling you that my partner, who I'm with right now, he just came here from another country as well. And he had no idea what credit even was. Like over there, they
Right.
use cash for everything. And it's really mainly an American culture where everything is bought on credit.
Absolutely. Totally. I think moving here, my mom will be quick to tell you that she heard horror stories, right, from, friends and folks that would tell you, oh my gosh, yeah, at the store, this credit card was offered to me. Oh, I made such a mistake signing up for it, right? And my father, even to this day, we're almost in 2020, he'll be proud to tell you that he pays a lot of bills still in cash and handles his finances in a more, let's say, liquid cash way than so many folks, yeah, who, right, Tiffany, I'm sure you've heard about, right, like credit card hacking to get extra miles or points off their monthly bills. That's not my parents at all, I'll tell you that for sure, right? Like, nah, they're hashtag old school, right? Like that's just the way that generation definitely is. My father does not use online banking. I'll tell you, even recently I was working with a client in one-on-one advising who was in his late 40s, very much Americanized, and still hadn't used online banking, had never had an app on his phone that was linked to any kind of bank accounts. right? And I think part of it was inertia, right? The things will an object's willingness or unwillingness to move or change its state, right? I think that there's a lot of folks who are out there listening who would probably say that, yeah, my transfer that goes from my checking to my savings account probably hasn't been increased in a while. Maybe I've had that automatic transfer going for so long, or I've had this system of writing out my bills every single month on a piece of paper, and that's how I look at it, right? Some kind of system that works for folks. Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That'll be one word I'll definitely add to that, or a phrase I'll add to that for sure.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, I'm all about cash or debit card. I don't use credit cards hardly for anything. But I had to teach myself that. And I said this in another episode, like everybody around me, and usually in the American culture, we depend on credit cards too much, which is why I actually just did an article on this. The debt is $3.1 trillion as of June 2019, the consumer debt. That's not even including houses and cars and things like that. That's just credit cards. And, I'm like, what? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if we narrow that big, if we narrow that big number down even more, the stat that came out earlier this year, I believe it was U.S. News World Report, we'll confirm the source for sure. The average consumer that has a credit card is sitting with around $17,000 of credit card debt.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
Terrifying.
It is.
Think about what kind of minimum monthly payment requirement that has each month. Think about with the high interest rate on that debt, the kind of treadmill that individual, that family is dealing with, where, hey, I'm trying to chip away at this and make, a $500 payment, but holy crap, 150 of that 500 is just paying fees and interest on the debt itself. It can be really frustrating and toxic. And that's one of the things that we're always preaching, right? Making smart money decisions and avoiding building up credit card debt. One of the big tips I always say is, a credit card is a 30-day loan. Don't trip like it's something different than that, right? Like if you put something on your credit card, you better pay that sucker off by that time that statement comes due. We're not talking about like, oh yeah, let me pay for that vacation now on a credit card, and like I'll figure out how to pay that thing off later.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I made a joke in a previous episode, which was not really a joke, it was true. I would only use my credit card when I was trying to build my credit. I would only get gas, pay it off. And I mean, I would pay it off like the next day because I was so scared of rolling over a balance. Like I would pay it off the next day.
Oh, you'll laugh at this. I've had some clients that literally, and this is, through our coaching program, I do a 90-day coaching program with clients one-on-one. And literally I had a client who called me on my phone. She goes, Dimitry, I just want to let you know, I'm in my car at the shopping mall and I just used the credit card, but I just made the payment in my car before I even left the parking lot at the mall. I already went onto my phone and made the payment. I'm like, I love it. Like high five through the phone. That's amazing. You know what I mean? Like that's great. We celebrated that habit as opposed to, right? Think about what the opposite end of the spectrum is people who are spending recklessly on their cards and maybe not even consciously or purposely burying it down deep and ignoring it like an ostrich, right? Burying its head in the sand. Like that is not the way to deal with that stuff, right? We've got to be able to grab the bull by the horns and make those smarter cash flow decisions. And I show folks, you can still go out and spend money. Doesn't mean that you have to be like coupon clipping, ramen noodle eating, you know what I mean? Sit at home, don't go out, say no to everybody, hermit crab, you know what I mean? To save money. You can have your cake and eat it too. There's a balanced approach that is so important. And I think that that's something that my parents strived to find over the years, right? I mean, I'm sure you'd agree with me, right? You don't just like snap your fingers and all of a sudden feel like financial balance in all parts of your world, right? Like,
absolutely not.
That's impossible, right? Things are always evolving. Our jobs are ever changing and developing. Life is developing around us, right? Whether folks are single and then they find that special someone and get hitched up and start a family, or whether someone wants to start a business or be investing in real estate, whatever. There's so many different paths, but being able to make those decisions in the right order and with balance allows folks to be able to like really enjoy the journey. And that's something that I can't emphasize enough. Tiff, you heard Ramit Sethi, right? His presentation
Oh,
at
yeah.
FinCon this year. Like,
Oh,
what did you think, right? In regards to like spending money. What do you love spending money on?
well, when the girl said that, well, when the lady said, when he asked her, "What do you want to do after you pay off all your debt?" And she was like, "Take a nap." I felt that. I felt that. I was
Mm,
like, I would take
mm.
the most serious nap right after I was debt free. I can't stand clutter. So when I want to get rid of my unwanted stuff and turn it into cold hard cash, I use Declutter.com. With Declutter.com, it's very simple. You just use their handy barcode scanner to get a free instant valuation, no auctions, no fees, no hassle. You pack your items into a box and ship your box for free and get payment the very next day. Declutter.com is rated 5 stars on Trustpilot and a Better Business Bureau accredited business. Declutter.com has made me a lot of money from stuff that just sits around the house. As a listener to the Money Talk with Tiff podcast, you can actually get a $5 boost to your valuation or $5 off if you decide to buy something used. The code for that is MoneyTalk5, MoneyTalk, and the number 5. And you can use that when you check out at declutter.com. DECLUTTR.com. I love Declutter, and you should too. I want to talk a little bit because you just got off the road from doing a hashtag Money Pro tour where you went to what? How many different states?
Yeah, 25 states in 25 weeks, full time RVing, aka my RV was my house. I was like a turtle. I brought it everywhere with me. You know what I mean? It was on my back. And it was, yeah, a tour to really highlight the need for financial education, financial literacy, and all about making smarter money decisions in the right order, right? And I think that's a really key component. What do we do first, second, and third, right? To make sure that we're not jumping the gun on stuff that we're going to then regret later. And really being able to help folks overcome that barrier. So yeah, we went from, and when I say we, this is me and my French bulldog, you know, the finance Frenchie. Shout him out on Instagram. He's more Insta famous than I will ever be. I'm telling you. Like I could post up the greatest financial content and people are like, whatever. And then as soon as I post up a photo with the puppy, people go crazy and they're like sharing it like crazy. So go check out the finance Frenchie. He just traveled to 25 states in 25 weeks with me in our 32-foot Class C RV that I purchased and bought and took out a loan and yeah, oh my God, I took out a loan that's debt. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
What if I told you, ready? My housing payment before I left, living in Boston in my 1-bedroom apartment, was $2,500 a month. Okay. Not cheap. It was a nice building. It had a parking spot. It had, a nice common area and amenities. It had, all this cool stuff. It had a doggy daycare, all this cool stuff in it. I'll give you that. But it didn't have wheels. I couldn't go anywhere.
Exactly.
This RV with zero money down, my monthly payment for my housing payment is $565 a month.
Nice. Nice. And you just finished traveling the country in your house. That
That's right. Yeah, and in each state we had financial meetups or presentations or podcast interviews. So on my YouTube channel, the Money Pro Method, you'll see videos from all 25 states posted up there. And yeah, we had so many cool conversations. I mean, I'll be the first one to admit that living up in Boston, I grew up here more or less from like when I was, 3, 4 years old to, through my 20s. And, it's quite a bubble up here in the Northeast. You know what I mean? We are very much, I think, insulated. And I saw a statistic recently. Tell me if this shocks you at all. Do you know that 50% of Americans live right now within 50 miles of where they were born?
I believe it. I believe it. I
I
definitely
think so many of us like stay in our own little sheltered space, right? And I think that sometimes or most of the time we would benefit greatly from being able to expose ourselves to other people, to other cultures and other neighborhoods. I spoke with farmers in different parts of the country. I spoke with, young Black kids in Flint, Michigan, who were telling me about the water crisis out there. I spoke with hippie surfer dudes in North Carolina. You know what I mean? I spoke with, some very cool people in Seattle with young adults at this organization called Year Up that helps 18 to 24-year-olds who are in college with like reaching their full potential and bridging the opportunity gap. That's Year Up, YEARUP.org. They're awesome. And they're nationwide in so many different cities. So yeah, being able to see not only different communities, but be able to be a part of them, right? By being able to kind of visit, right? And almost poke my head into their lives for a little bit. Where me and my finance Frenchie, we would walk around, we would go to dog parks, we would chat with people there, we would go to dog friendly breweries. We would go to some of the main streets and cool events that were happening around town. And I had my money jacket. It's one of the things I'm famous for, is this dollar print money jacket suit of all different highlighter colors that I rock. And Brady, the finance Frenchie, has his dollar bill collar and bandana and all that fun stuff. So let's just say when we're walking down the street, people are like, "What's going on over here? Like, what's this dude doing with the camera interviewing people with his Frenchie in the street? What's going on over here?" So we had a pretty fun way to, let's just say, have an icebreaker when arriving in new cities all around the country.
That is awesome. And I am low key, maybe high key, hating because that's one of my bucket list items, is just to do a road trip around the country. I love it. I'll live vicariously through you by listening to the podcast, because I saw that you had all the different states, and, just seeing what you experience. I'll just live vicariously through you for now.
It's funny, right? So I first even considered this idea when I had some friends who took me to an RV show here in Greater Boston, and it was probably 2 years ago. And just by walking up and down this like convention center, and then getting exposed to websites and bloggers and YouTube channels of folks who are full-time RVing and what kind of lifestyle that provides. It caught me at a time when I was, look, I'm 31, I'm single, I don't have kids, right? So I'm in a position where I'm blessed to say, I have some flexibility as far as, let's just say, I may not have some of the commitments or responsibilities that some other folks my age might have, and I'm very much aware of that. And I think that if I'm going to do it at any time in my life, now is going to kind of be the time to do it, right? And after working, like I said, 10 years, from age 21 to 31, I was a financial advisor working with clients one-on-one in Boston. Very much the same way, a dentist is filling cavities or a doctor is, taking blood tests. That's the same way that I was working with financial patients, quote unquote, and really helping them overcome so many different obstacles and barriers that, as great as it was, Tiff, I'm sure you'll kind of resonate with this or relate to it. Even if I helped 200 people a year, for 30 more years, okay, 200 times 30, 6,000 families. And that was great, right? I get hugs from my clients. I'm blessed to say I've been to their weddings. I see them have kids and their housewarming parties. It's amazing. But this little voice kept creeping into my head, because you and I both know 2 out of 3 Americans in this country right now do not have $1,000 in savings.
Exactly. Yep.
And I look at that and I say, oh my God, what is 6,000 when there's tens of millions who would benefit from being able to know the way that I can help folks out? I felt guilty almost just sitting I felt as if I was settling. And so that's where what really got me to think of how I could potentially go into minimalism and essentialism, right? And delegate a lot of my previous job duties to my junior associates and fellow team members at my office as I hit the road and was giving presentations and talks and pop-up events and going to popping up at breweries on weekends and outside of ball games at different times, and even outside of supermarkets and in public parks. I mean, it was so cool to interact with so many different Americans and hear what was probably a truth that I knew going into it, but that is that so many of us are struggling with the same challenges.
Right, exactly. Well, anytime you find yourself in North Carolina, please let me know and I will look for the RV and the money jacket and the dog.
Yeah, I love it.
So,
One of my favorite Yeah, one of my favorite highlights I gotta tell you was North Carolina, and it was
oh,
the teachers, the Red for Ed rally in Raleigh, North
yes, yes,
Carolina.
yes.
Over over 10,000 teachers marching on the Capitol for teachers' rights and wages and
Yep.
better environments for students and investing in kids. Such a powerful state, North Carolina. I got mad love for North Carolina.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember that. I had a few friends that went out. But Dimitri, so I want to go ahead and wrap it up a little bit. So, where can people find you if they want to learn more about Dimitri, follow Dimitri? Where can they find you?
Totally. So you can find me all across social media from Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at 90 Day Money Pro. That's right. We show folks how in 90 days, instead of being a money amateur, we all want to be money pros, right? We want to feel like we got all our money stuff taken care of. So at 90 Day Money Pro, you can also find me at 90daymoneypro.com or at dimitryneyshtadt.com, where you can see more about the Money Pro Tour. And yeah, click the link in any of our bios. We'll get you links to our YouTube channel and a free ebook to your listeners, the 6 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom for Life. That is a free ebook that I have that's published that is available right there through that link as well. Feel free to download that for some additional insight on how to make smarter money decisions in the right order for your family and your life.
Nice, nice. And I'll have all of those links in the show notes. Thank you so much, Dimitri, for coming on. This was so much fun, and we covered so much.
Love it. A great money talk with Tiff. I love it.
Have a good one. Thank you for listening to the Money Talk with Tiff podcast. For free resources and materials, head over to moneytalkwitht.com. And while you're there, why not sign up for our newsletter so you'll never miss an episode? Talk to you soon.